Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for this special report on what you need to know to harden your home. Now, we talk every year about the importance of having defensible space around your home. That's the 100 feet zone of clearing all dead or dying vegetation. But it's the combination of defensible space and ember-resistant building materials, that's hardening your home, that really make the difference when it comes to which homes are going to survive or what increase you have of your home surviving a wildfire. So today we want to take your questions and talk to you about some of the simple items that you can do around your home to make sure your home is hardened. So I'm joined now by Lynn Tolmachoff. Lynn, let's talk a little bit about some of the easy steps that homeowners should have when it comes to hardening your home.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start here with the roof that we have up here. As you can see, this is a composite roof, so it's got the perfect type of material you're going to need. The homes that you don't want to have, or the type of roofs you don't want to have on your home, are anything made of wood, the old style wood shingles, which really you don't see too much anymore in California except for on a much older home. But you want to avoid those. So something like this, or maybe even a tile roof or a metal roof.
So tile netting or some type of composition, but the wood shingles, that's obviously the biggest risk when it comes to wildfire danger of those embers raining down. And that's the thing when we're talking about hardening your home. A lot of people then don't realize that embers may travel a half mile, even sometimes a mile from the fire, right? And that's when the home, it just has embers raining down and they find those weak spots like the roof.
Yeah, absolutely, a weak spot. Yeah, so if you have a wooden roof, obviously that's easy material to burn. But then you also want to work on protecting those other spots that embers can get into, all those little weak spots.
Let's talk about the other spots up there on the roof. Okay. So the gutters a lot of times collect leaves, and with defensible space, you want to remove those leaves. But what can you do for your gutters?
For your gutters, what you can do is get the covers over them that help prevent any type of materials, leaves, branches, anything like that land on your roof and they roll into your gutters, or they land directly in your gutters. This will prevent that from happening. They'll just come right off of the roof and then onto the ground. That way there's no buildup in there. So if, say, an ember did fly towards your home and land in your gutter, there's no material in there for it to catch on fire. It's just going to land in your metal gutter.
And it's much easier to clean this off when you're going up there. Instead of having to clear out those gutters, this guard actually keeps those leaves from accumulating inside the gutter itself.
Right, absolutely. Put them all the way around on every piece of gutter that you have on your home.
And gutter guards can be relatively cheap. They're not an expensive add-on to your home.
Exactly. I think we paid maybe $1 for this, and you got to go around the whole entire circumference of your home, but it honestly is not going to be that much, and just a few dollars to possibly save your home from a wildfire is worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. So good tips. So let's talk a little bit about the deck. So we have the deck here. Now this deck, it's not enclosed.
Right.
That's very common for people not to have enclosed decks, but what's the vulnerability here?
Well, here with this deck, for example, this one actually is enclosed. If it was open, a lot of people would use it for a storage area, which could be a problem. You put wood materials under there or something like that, and that could potentially be caught, an ember could get under there and potentially catch it on fire. But the other thing you need to worry about is what your deck is made of, the type of material you need to have. The best material to use on decks like these, especially out in the wildland areas, is an ember-resistant or non-combustible type decking, such as this. As you can see, there's a lot of brand names that you can find, but this is just an example of one of the many that they have available.
And this one is actually is a concrete base rather than a wood-based product.
Exactly. You see it's breaking apart, but it's still the same type of material. It's not wood that's weakening, getting old, and drying out.
Now, and here on this deck, this part is obviously wood, and one of those concerns as it gets older are these cracks start to develop here, and these are those weak points that the ember can find, whereas inside this non-combustible material, even if it was to crack for whatever reason, it's not going to ignite on fire.
Exactly. It just stays the same all the way through. It's the same type of material. It's not like it's wood covered with some sort of other material.
Now, Lynn, a lot of people are asking about, they're talking about the fact that people sometimes store furniture during the winter under their decks, or they store their wood piles. That's a concern, though, those combustible items.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the summertime, if you store them in there in the wintertime and we're not in fire season where there's the potential of a wildfire coming towards your home, you can do that. But when summer hits, you need to pull everything out. You need to keep it away from the house. You don't need that extra added potential to catch your house on fire. So make sure everything underneath your deck is cleared out. Also get all the dead, dry leaves and other materials out from underneath too.
Awesome. Now, as we continue to move on around the house, if you do have questions, let us know, whether you're following us on Periscope or on Facebook Live. If you have questions, let us know. Now, all this information is on our website, readyforwildfire.org. Under the Get Ready section, as you've got
Absolutely.
there, under Get Ready, on the website, you can actually get all that information about hardening your home. So let's continue to walk through here and talk about some of the other items that you may need.
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll move on here as we're walking up towards the house. Obviously, the first thing we're going to walk into is the siding here. This house has a stucco type siding on it, a very common throughout California, and it's actually very good to use because it is also fire resistant, non-combustible type material. Probably one of the better things you can use for your home. The other thought is using the cement hardy board siding also, which is also another non-combustible material. However, there are some homes in California that still do have wood siding. People have used that. That unfortunately is obviously very could be a potential fire hazard for a home. So if you have the opportunity to replace the siding on your home, you're planning to do some updating or remodeling, think about the materials you're going to use and use something that is going to be fire resistant.
So as we move on here, we're right next to this window, and a lot of people don't think that windows are actually, they're not only the view inside the home, but when this fire's out here, it's superheating everything inside when you have just a single pane window.
Exactly, single pane window. A lot of people think, well, windows don't catch on fire. They don't. That's true. Unfortunately, heat, especially a lot of heat, will cause a window to break, and also can potentially just lead to the heat getting into the house. So having dual pane windows is just extra protection for your home, especially if it's a nice dual pane window. If the outside pane should happen to break, you still have one more pane inside that's protecting the home. Also, in a wildfire situation, if you know you've got to evacuate, go ahead and close all your blinds before you leave. That'll help just a little bit more resistance.
Okay, but let's continue to walk up, on the deck here. Every home in the attic or on the second story has vents in it. So if we look up here on the corner of this one, the vent itself, in those vents, there are openings into the attic. So what can be the concern of embers getting up into those vents?
Yeah, absolutely. So once a ember starts going towards your home, if it gets up into that vent somehow and gets through any kind of mesh or anything you've got blocking it, if the mesh is too big and the holes are allowing embers to get in there, obviously once it gets inside, you've got your the framing inside of the attic space along with insulation and all those materials they burn great. So unfortunately, you need to do something to keep those embers from getting in there and from that happening.
So on this one, we can see there's clearly is a screen, probably about 1/4 of an inch, and that's probably the minimum. 1/8 of an inch mesh is going to be a lot better, metal mesh, but never using fiberglass or plastic, obviously, because those can melt. Now I have a piece here, Lynn, that we got at the store for relatively cheap, 1/8 of an inch. I could actually cut this out in a circle and put it right over the original one, the 1/4 inch, and now I have two screens and actually blocking out even more. So this is an easy retrofit that for $8 it was 15 feet of it or so. I could really go through and do all of these. So go to your local hardware store and just buy some of this metal, this mesh. 1/8 of an inch is what's recommended. 1/4 of an inch is the minimum. Again, on the home here, it's about 1/4 of an inch. Put in this 1/8 of an inch over it, that hole gets even smaller.
Absolutely.
But here's, give us another example of an outdoor vent that you could use.
So here's another outdoor vent cover. On the back side here, it has the mesh, which right here, this is also 1/8 of an inch on this one, so it's very small, just like that one. But another piece of protection on it has the louvers on the front that kind of just give it another face covering to it. So once again, double protection, looks nice, and can go on, easily put up on your home.
Now, one thing here we can see on this home, the eaves are open.
Yeah.
But what's a good suggestion as far as enclosing those eaves?
Yeah, once again, if you're going to go through and do some retrofitting on your home or remodeling or something like that, updating, just enclose the eaves while you're at it. Just another step to take to help harden and protect your home against a wildfire.
Gotcha. And if we swing to the right over here, here we have an awning for a patio cover. This is obviously a very flammable item out here.
Absolutely. Fortunately, this one's pretty far away from the home, but if you can find the right materials, find once again some materials that are ignition resistant. That is the key to being able to enjoy having this type of item out in your yard or on your property, but also at the same time protecting your home once again.
Gotcha. So outdoor patio furniture, even the seats and the cushions themselves are combustible, but there are some abilities to, especially if there is a fire in your area, those are things that if you have the time, pack up, put away, like you mentioned, close the blinds on your windows. So let's just go over real quick those items real quick again.
Okay.
So the first one we talked about, the roof.
The roof, absolutely. Make sure you do not have a wood roof. If you do, make it a priority to get that changed. That is a huge fire hazard, especially if you're out in the wildland area. Change it out, make it a composite roof, tile roof, or metal.
Gotcha. Decking. What do we need to do for our decks?
Decking, we want to have non-wooden decks. We want to have decks that are made of ignition and ember resistant materials. And underneath, you want to make sure you keep your deck cleaned out of everything. Make sure there's nothing stored under there like wood or other combustible materials.
Okay. And then when it comes to our gutters, what can we easily do to retrofit those gutters to make them more fire safe and hardened?
Yeah, very easy fix. Put the mesh over it to help keep leaves and other debris out of your gutters getting stored in there so an ember does not get in there and start a fire.
Okay. The siding of the home, we talked about this one was a stucco. Very common. What else is there?
Stucco, we have the hardy board, the plank siding, anything that's not made of wood.
Gotcha. Okay, the eaves, we talked about this easy retrofit of putting this this metal mesh right over it. Size and what's the need?
Yeah, so right now, most homes 1/4 inch, but go to an 1/8 of an inch, just that little bit smaller protection, and just put it right over what's already up there, double protection.
Gotcha. And when it comes to the eaves, what are we going to do?
If you can, enclose them. That is a little bit more money, just like replacing your roof, but ultimately, if it's going to help protect your home, it's worth every penny.
So these are some very easy steps. And again, when it comes to siding, that may be a more long-term, but there are short terms. Again, just a few dollars, this mesh is an easy retrofit to close those open vents that you may have into your attic or into your eaves. Again, this version right here, where it's not just the screen, but also has the little louvers to it too. That just helps keep those embers out. And again, the whole goal is when those embers are raining down on your home, you have that extra protection that your home is really hardened from the fire.
Absolutely.
For more information on what you can do to make sure your home is hardened and how you can be fire safe this summer, make sure to visit our website at readyforwildfire.org. I'm Daniel Berlant.
I'm Lynn Tolmachoff.
Thanks for watching us and have a fire safe weekend.